Bonjour and welcome to Rauta's Death Metal Reviews. This time we go to France with Creeping Fear. This is Realm of the Impaled, and as you can pretty much figure out from the title, it's gonna be death metal, but with a demonic twist. Obviously, sorry for these reflections. Summer is a bitch when you're doing videos at home with some lazy guy not putting the curtains before the windows. Yeah, that's me. Let's not blame anybody else. This guy's like grumpy as fuck. Why don't you do that? Anyway, comes with a beautiful cover and back cover and everything. Looks nice. This is one of the smaller labels, Dolorem, which has put out. And to be honest, I was really happy that once in a while, once in a blue moon, I actually get a review CD before the release date. Obviously, this review is still a little bit late after that because, you know, queues and shit. That is not the point, however. What is that this death metal album from France is one of the exceptions. Let's be honest about it. French people are good in lots of things. Death metal has never been their forte. But this is one of the exceptions, so let's talk about that. Creeping Fear was founded already 15 years ago. That's a long time ago, but this must be the first time I actually remember hearing about the band. And the reason is, I guess, rather obvious. It took quite a few years, 7 or so, for them to put out their first album, and ever since they have been more active. I mean, second album 4 years later, and another 4 years later, now this 2025 release, Realm of the Impaled. So, not exactly a big band, but steadily growing and doing some things right, because after all, that's why they are here. So, let's talk about this French stuff. Realm of the Impaled, being the third album and all, delivers you quite a traditional take. Maybe a little bit on the short side of things with 35 minutes, 9 tracks, and like I said, nasty looking, but also beautifully looking demonic cover, devilish cover, if you will. Musically, this is nothing out of, the box in the sense of being revolutionary, different, original, and such. Then again, I really don't even expect that when we're talking about death metal. The pointers were on the, promotional piece of paper that came with the CD. Yeah, this is for fans like Cannibal Corpse and the like. And I'm pretty much like, yeah, but not exactly. However, that's close enough for you to get understanding what this is all about. Kind of a traditional death metal, but more on the modern side of things rather than the 1980s or early 1990s. Someone mentioned when we were talking about this album, or when I mentioned that I'm listening to this one, that it reminds him of the band Aeon. And then it started to go into my brain and figure out, yeah, that's exactly. So this is more on the modern side of things, but nothing really ultra modern. So if you had to put it in one of those waves, which we so often talk about in black metal, but I mean, why not in death metal too? I guess you could say this is more in the second wave of death metal. Very, very traditional in so many ways, not really revolutionizing anything here, but then again, not exactly the first old school wave of things. And especially when you compare this to a lot of newer bands which are kind of a retro-ish with their old school take. Yes, this sounds more modern than them. But when it comes to the production, everything is here fitting, the vocals, riffs, everything is just ticking the right boxes. So now you're probably wondering why you are not praising it more than that. And the thing is, this isn't exactly there yet in terms of being great with individual riffs or songwriting, score parts and all that stuff. Obviously, it depends once again how experienced you are and what kind of bands or albums are your favorites. But once again, talking about this Cannibal Corpse thing, there's a difference when you are really that experienced that you're not gonna kind of invite the B-class riffs into your classroom and let them go. Whereas Creeping Fear is still a little bit on that. Now, this is not to say this is mediocrity. It's way better than that. But to challenge the absolute masters of the given genre, and Cannibal Corpse is, in my opinion, just one of them, yeah, there's still work to be done. So, overall, I would say Creeping Fear's third album is actually quite good. It's definitely on the decent side of things. But once again, there is a lot to be work to be done in order to really challenge the best in the business in their own game. And unfortunately, that's not really happening very easily. After all, there's so many great death metal albums throughout the years, so trying to compete with them, it's gonna be hard. But those who are open-minded and ready to find new bands and new albums worth listening to might actually find Realm of the Impaled rather good. So I'm saying do yourself a favor if you consider yourself a death metal head and just listen to this album, and maybe it's worth buying to you. I do not know for you. That's obviously for you to find out. As always, links are in the description box for you to check out the music easily. And what can I say? I hope you like it. As the saying goes, if you like it, go buy it. Now, off you go, give it a listen, and do your work. Now, see you soon with more reviews coming your way. Bye.